So what's going on with Mike Hilton? That's really my question today, because there was reports when free agency first started that he was going to sign a contract with the Bucks, and then that fell through. Then there was talks that, oh, well, Brian wants him and he'll go to the Titans. Well, the Titans don't seem like they're interested at all in him anymore. And then the Steelers were the team that was supposed to get him. But then the Steelers went and got big play Slay, and they're not really interested in him at all. And right now, he's in limbo. There really isn't a team that wants Mike Hilton, which is insanely crazy. And I know, listen, Mike Hilton has his issues, right? Number one, he's not as fast as he used to be. He's a lot slower than in reality you want from a slot corner. He can't cover. Man can't cover to save his life. And a lot of it is because of his failure at speed, and old age is kind of destroying his chance of covering anyway. But he's not really that great at covering. But he's great in run support. And we said this before, you know, if you do make him a safety, put him in the box, he could be a pretty dang good safety in the box. And that's really what you would have to utilize him for. But that's pretty much it. So he's kind of in this gray area, I feel like, where a lot of these free agents are. We're right before the NFL draft. And all these teams are trying to go back and forth to decide who they want to take, who the future of their team is, and what's going to happen in about 3 weeks, right? So you have this cesspool right now of free agents. They're kind of just sitting there and waiting. They're waiting to see how the draft goes. Because once the draft's over, that's free agency wave 3. And you're going to get a lot of these guys, Mike Hilton, Nick Chubb, you know, you name it, are going to get picked up. Because the draft's not going to go this way or that way for some team. And they're going to want to go ahead and try to replace or fix a position on their team. So Mike Hilton right now is in that gray area where he has to wait. Now, June 1st comes, and June 1st obviously gives us more free agents. Post June 1st cut dates. I'll be honest with you. Mike Hilton might end up a Bengal. He might end up back on the Bengals. Because based on what I've seen, the teams that are interested in Mike Hilton, right, are the Steelers. They're not going to probably go another cornerback. Especially not an older, not the greatest coverage guy, cornerback. Brian, potentially. But I think Brian right now, with that team, they're in a rebuild. They're going to take Cam Wood, right? They're going to get a brand new quarterback. And they're probably going to try to build around him. So, with the limitations of Mike Hilton needs to go to a team that is already set. That already has all their pieces put together. And they are a Super Bowl roster. But they just need that one last piece. And Mike Hilton, because of his limitations, is what you would call a luxury option. It's not an option where you pick him up and, you know, he's the guy, blah, 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 you know, and he's like the absolute unit on your team. But you need to have him like as an extra option on the team in case someone gets hurt or as rotation purposes. And I honestly thought he was going to go to Buffalo. That's where I thought he was going to end up going, in all honesty. But he's no. I think, again, like I said, it's kind of like Trey Flowers, how Trey Flowers was for us. He was utilized just to cover tight ends. That's kind of what we're probably going, like Mike Hilton would be in the situation he's in. But again, like I said, you look at the options available and they're not many. There's like 3 teams that we talked about, and all 3 teams, they're filling the holes themselves with other guys. So again, like I said, I could see him coming back to the Bengals, a 1-year, no-nothing deal, and he just has a chance to compete on our roster again. and kind of do a prove it deal. But he is going to be 31 years old when the season kicks off. That's not easy to, get to that age at cornerback. Things start breaking down very quickly. You start, having problems. Now, there are corners that play 33, 34, and they're still, pretty efficient. But obviously, Mike Hilton is not that corner. So, yeah, I think there definitely will be a situation when we pick him back up. And it's just because I think it's going to be a no-nothing contract. But I think definitely going into free agency, and if you listen to Mike Hilton and his cryptic tweets on Twitter, he thought he was going to get a lot of offers. And, I think every player, when they go in free agency, they always think they're going to get a lot of offers. And it just didn't work out. It hasn't worked out so far. Not many teams are interested in him. And again, I think it's really coming down to there's too many decently old cornerbacks in free agency. And you got to separate yourself from other corners, and it's sometimes very difficult to do so. So, shout out to Mike Hilton again. Like I said, I wish him the best of luck. If he does end up back with the Bengals, I will more than welcome him back. I'll be very ecstatic to have him back, and I can't wait to see what he can do with us. But again, it's going to be for a no-nothing contract. He's going to get paid absolutely nothing if he comes back. And we'll see. I mean, fans, obviously, we're all going to love him back. We love Mike Hilton, absolutely. But even with us signing him back, there's just not much you can do with him. I mean, Dax Hill now is our slot corner, so he'd be getting a lot less reps. If anything, he'd just be a backup to Dax Hill and a rotational piece. Yeah, it's one of those, again, like I said, it's a luxury option, meaning it's not someone that, you're kind of trying to start every day or you're trying to put in all the time. But I'm sure Al could figure something out to keep him in our defense and get him, utilized in some way. But again, it does also come down to what does Mike want? Does Mike want to do that? Or does Mike just want to, keep his options available and see who else could go after him? Because obviously, it's not always the sexiest option to be like, the runner-up pretty much, right? Sometimes you rather just hit free agency and see what could happen. I don't know, but I wish him the best of luck. Hopefully everything works out with him. Everything's all good, but I'll see you guys in the next one, though. Peace out.